The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that more than a year ago, she and I launched a hit podcast called Half My Age. The premise was that she was 50, I was 25, and the two of us would share our age-based perspectives on topics ranging from personal budgeting to the best tactics for discouraging homeless loitering. Naturally, with our two bright minds and engaging personalities, Half My Age was the largest and most successful intergenerational anti-homelessness and philosophy podcast of 2019. The next thing you should know is that Mrs. Filholm and I are back at it. We took a break for a bit, collected ourselves, and made some changes, but we're back in front of the mics, piping the sweet, sweet sound of our voices directly into your ear holes. Welcome back, Mrs. Filholm.
Thanks, Andrew. The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that when we became friends, he was young, single, and filled with the usual trepidation and trembling of a man in the bloom of youth. We wondered, he and I, along with all those who care about him, what kind of girl might eventually be his perfect match. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that about 2 years ago, in a cute meet worthy of a rom-com when everything just falls into place, he met Delaney.
Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world. Aw, that's so
Right?
sweet, Mrs. Filholm.
Happy New Year, Andrew.
Happy New Year.
Happy new podcast.
Thank you. Thank
Hey,
you.
listeners. We're
This is
back.
Season number 2 of Half My
That's right,
Age.
season number 2. A lot has happened in the month that we took off. Starting with, tell it.
Well,
Tell it.
Starting with
Tell them.
Christmas.
Say it. Okay, Christmas.
And then after Christmas,
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, I got engaged.
Yay!
I asked Miss Delaney, which is her name at the dance studio. All the 4 and 5-year-olds call her Miss Delaney. I asked Miss Delaney if she would be my wife.
And she said yes.
And she sure did.
So good.
Much tears were shed, many tears. Her life is now over. She thought she could do so much better for herself.
Why were tears shed? Were tears really shed?
But I trapped her
Okay.
into an engagement.
Were tears of happiness shed?
Tears of joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you shed tears of joy?
A couple.
Oh,
A few.
That's cute.
I'm not too proud to say.
Good for you. And in a move that impresses me, I mean, like after my own life philosophy, you guys are just getting to it. They're having a wedding.
We are having a
Good for
wedding.
you.
We've picked a date. We've booked a venue. And now we're working on all of the ancillary things, photographer, caterer.
I know. I haven't seen
everything
you.
else.
How's that going? You enjoying it, Andrew?
It is good.
Okay,
It is
you
good.
like wedding planning. You're a weirdo.
And
all the way
maybe
down.
today is the Delaney show, but something that listeners should know is that Delaney is a professional. She's a paralegal. She's extremely organized and meticulous. And planning a wedding with Delaney is crazy easy because she is on top of it. She is crossing things off lists. She's checking boxes. She's getting it done, all with minimal input on my side.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would think you would be also easy to plan a wedding with because you're also all about spreadsheets. Oh, but is that right? She's making all the decisions or the most, and no shade. She's making most of the decisions. She's just saying, this is what I want. And you're good with it?
She's going for it and I'm good with it.
Great.
And I'm trying not to be too uninvolved. I'm trying to,
Right.
be helpful and supportive.
Okay.
But
Good
the
for
reality is I have very few requirements or must-haves for this wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be our special day and it's going to be wonderful. But it can be exactly the way she wants it.
And you do not have any either childhood or rom-com or whatever. You do not have an idea in your head or a vision in your head of what that wedding will look like.
I've always kind of wondered what my wedding would look like, especially growing up Catholic. I wondered if I'd have a church wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And Delaney and I are not going to have a church wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get married in a field.
But it didn't matter to you. You just wondered what it would look like.
Right. That's truly not important to me. I haven't chosen to go to Mass on my own in a very long time.
I mean, even the other things, you didn't have a vision of what you would wear or how it must be. But Delaney probably has some of those ideas about what she wants it to look like and what she wants it to be like.
She does. And we've also been, as much as a person, usually the lady in the relationship, as much as she can plan her wedding on Pinterest in the years leading up to it, I think there are a lot of unaccounted for things that you can't you can't prepare for before you're in the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Pinterest never prepares you for the fact that the wedding venue you might want to have your wedding at
Mm-hmm.
is either booked or so expensive it's impossible for you to book it.
Sure.
So
Pinterest doesn't prepare you for changing your expectations and like making do with certain things.
right. And the reality of planning a wedding is it's less I want this, and this, and more a logistical conundrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like these things, but I can afford this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and these dates work for us, but they don't work for our officiant, and
Right.
there's all kinds of compromising and satisficing that goes into getting this whole event.
A lot of balls in the air. It's like any event, Andrew.
Yeah,
It's like
it is.
literally
It
any
is.
event. And it's all of it. It's all the balls in the air, and it all has to come together. And right, you're not going to get that DJ because he's not available or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's all of those balls in the air.
And it's so much prioritization. You might be able to have the DJ you want or the photographer you want, but not both. Or you might be able to have, if you spend some money here, you might have to spend less here.
Sure.
It's
Do you happen to know our listeners who are female? Sorry to be gender binary about it. I guess a good old, heterosexual wedding brings it out. It's gender binary. You don't really care about the wedding. You're just happy to kind of show up and wear what she tells you to wear. And she's got
I wouldn't
some
say that I
Pinterest
don't care about
things.
the wedding.
I don't mean that. You don't have right. Correct.
But I
You
don't
love
have,
the wedding. You're totally into the
very
wedding.
excited.
Right, but you don't have. You don't have. Right, you're happy to sort of show up and wear what she tells you to wear and be there.
Absolutely.
You do not have in your head some idea of what your wedding will be like, and Delaney has. Do you know, for our listeners and for me who are interested, do you know what what are Delaney's non-negotiables? Does she have I will have this flower at my wedding, or I must have this meal, or this person, or in a field, or my hair, or anything? Do you know that she has some non-negotiables that rise to the top of that priority list?
I would say there were two.
Oh,
The first non-negotiable that came up was an outside wedding.
Uh-huh.
She really wants an outside wedding, and from the get-go, most of the things we looked at were outdoors. And then the other non-negotiable is our officiant.
Oh, cool.
Delaney worked for a guy who's now a judge, and she really loved her boss.
Yes, she did.
And they're still very close, and he's going to marry us.
Cool. That's cool. And you like him too.
I do too.
That's
He's
a good
great
friend.
guy.
Oh, that's adorable. It's adorable. Outside, are you gonna have it covered with a tent at all?
So we've got the way this venue is organized. There's a big field next to a giant. They call it a stable, but there's been no wildlife anywhere near this building. It's
Ever.
It's a
an
big
event.
warehouse with walls that retract and roll up so that
Sure.
it's kind of like a big warehouse frame.
It's a movie set for wedding production.
That's exactly what it is. So we're getting married there. The other thing I should mention, you say I don't have strong feelings or preferences about this. I might have more.
No, you said that.
Well, okay. I said it.
We
said
agreed on it.
We agreed.
Yes, carry on. If that's not true, tell me.
It might be different if Delaney and I had drastically different styles.
Sure.
But she and I are actually in agreement on most things decorative and logistic. You know?
I believe that. Yeah, right. I can believe that. But again, covered or not covered, there's a tent going to be there?
I think the ceremony is going to be outside. The tables will be underneath the stable, but the walls will be up. There'll be probably some lawn games and.
But the reception will be covered if you want it to be covered if it rains or something.
Right.
But we're sitting out in beating hot heat during your vows.
It's a morning wedding,
Okay.
so it's going to be 10:30. It's not going to be the full heat of the day.
Okay, almost every 10:30 in that month of the year is nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good choice. That worries me. It's just funny because the last thing I would do is plan an outdoor wedding. Isn't that funny? I get the beauty of it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
think
totally.
of my kids graduation parties. It was the environmental problems of out of doors that messed with it. If anything did.
A big consideration, and part of the reason that this venue is okay. I mean, it's truly not just a field. But because there is room to move this whole thing indoors in 15 minutes if we have to.
Right. It's a wedding venue in Colorado, and they know you want. She just wants the picturesque feeling of out of doors.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I can't say I blame her. I was with all this wedding stuff. We went through my parents' photo album from their wedding.
Oh, cute.
And they got married in a church, which was I mean, it's the perfect storm of bad lighting. Not only is it dark in there and hard to see,
Right.
but you're talking about film cameras. You get one shot of the
Right,
picture.
I know.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. You've seen modern wedding photography. It's amazing. It's outstanding, and it's because not only has technology gotten better, but we've also, I don't know, got smarter about how we light things.
Well, and the other idea is that, like, back in the day when your parents got married all those ancient years ago before you were born, I mean, and still to this day at a church wedding, you won't. At a Catholic church wedding, you may not get very good pictures of the actual wedding because this isn't what it's about. It's not for the pictures. The wedding itself, the ceremony, is not for pictures, right?
Sure.
That's
It's a
part
sacrament.
of it. It's sacrament. I mean, that's part of it from your parents versus doing it out of doors where the photographer is ready and waiting to get good shots on purpose of the vows being said versus, even back when I got married, you go out afterwards and you do your wedding pictures. You're probably still going to do that. You're going to get your pictures and the pictures during the ceremony. Anyway, okay, well, that sounds amazing. Another thing, I mean, we're obviously going to keep talking about that, but I do want to point out that another thing that is like a wedding in terms of it's dependent on a bunch of different balls in the air is a funeral.
It is a funeral. So
Which
since
we haven't
we
talked
last
about.
spoke, I got engaged, and you planned a funeral.
We lost my daddy. Yeah.
Have we not announced that?
No.
It has been a long time since we've spoken.
Yeah. We recorded the day before he died, I think, or 2 days before he died. And that was the last one we put out. And then we promised our readers we were putting out a tiny episode, and we just never got around to it. You wrote show notes for it and everything.
I wrote show
I
notes
think that was
for
you,
it.
but you never released it. It wasn't that good.
I never clipped it. It was basically about all the things I wanted for Christmas. It was not super...
Well, it was a product show. That's what we were doing. Merlin Mann does it all the time, and he's one of our inspirations. Speaking of products, right now I just got a notice that DJ Roomba has completed a job. Good job, Roomba.
I've been enjoying my
Kitchen's
Roomba.
clean. I love my Roomba, but even better.
If I accomplish nothing in the day, I can turn on the Roomba, and I will have done something.
Really good point.
I will
You
have
never
cleaned the house.
accomplish nothing in a day.
So, well, not since I got that Roomba.
Oh my God, we have so many things to talk about, like product things that actually don't even appeal to me, like computers. I don't really want to talk about it. Do you? I mean, nobody wants to. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, my dad died.
I want to talk about your dad dying and the process of. Well, I got a lot of questions.
All right.
I mean, first of all,
Lay it on me, string bean.
in the planning thing, what goes into that? Because you had a lot of out of town family come in for this thing, and I got to meet some more of our listeners in person. Got to meet the world famous Dr. Jeannie.
That's right. That's funny.
It is funny, and it's so. I mean, sitting at a funeral is already. There's some different thoughts going through your head. Like my main funeral thought that I have when I go to a funeral is, good God, I hope this many people come to mine.
Oh, do you?
I'm very nervous about dying and having 4 people at my funeral.
You are?
I am.
I've never thought about it in my whole life.
And I'm sitting.
How weird.
I'm sitting there next to Dr. Jeannie thinking about this, and then my second funeral thought, since I'm next to her, is, don't let that show act normal, act normal, act normal, act normal.
Act normal, act normal.
And she seems pretty.
Wait, and then it's even better. Then people that vaguely know you because they're my friends saw you and you said hello to them. And then Dr. Jeannie recognized your voice.
That's right.
Is what you told me.
That's what she told me.
That's amazing.
And so this funeral was an excellent opportunity to meet some of our fans that I'd never met.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, a lot of the Lane family. Well, what reminded me of the funeral, as if I don't think about it every day, is you said, you can Pinterest your wedding and your ideas about your wedding as much as you want. And my parents are people who know to make a funeral plan in advance and have paid for their burial site and things like that. And I thought, I honestly, I think this is more true of my mother than my father, but I was surprised that my father had not, that my mom had to make decisions like what songs to use and what readings to use at the Mass. I was surprised by that. I really was under the impression that Dad had chosen all of that because you have an opportunity. I mean, they have workbooks from the Catholic Church for their funerals. I'm not even kidding. And I've seen my mom's, and I guess I've seen my dad's. He probably doesn't care as much. So I think my mother, and if she hadn't already, I think she has literally now chosen, these are the songs I want said. These are the readings I want at my funeral. And I know that my mother in a notebook has notes on what she wants said at her eulogy, which my father did not have. So anyway, they were just...
Which, by the way, you gave the eulogy, and it was very... heartfelt and excellent. You know, there were just enough laughs to punctuate the thing.
I got an applause break, Andrew, actually.
It was very well done.
Thank you. I didn't feel that way at all about it.
Your dad would have been proud.
He would have been fine with it. I mean, no, that's the truth. I don't feel great about it.
Why not?
I've written a lot of eulogies. I've written more eulogies than most people. I probably have delivered more eulogies. I know that's a weird thing, but it's true. I have delivered several eulogies.
But who's keeping score, right?
Okay, I'm just saying that I know what I'm doing. Is all I'm saying is I kind of know how to write a good eulogy and deliver a good eulogy. When my father died, it came down to, I mean, it was an obvious thing that I would do the eulogy, and I went, yeah, nodded, yep, that seems right. Also, my brother and sister volunteered me to make the urn for his ashes out of clay, which was an honor, I guess, but there was a lot of sitting here. Processing a death. It was probably good. It was just spending a lot of time by myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
During the holidays.
Steeped in, the sadness of all of it.
I guess, yeah. And anyway, so I just perhaps underestimated the task of writing my own father's eulogy. It was a little harder than I thought. I had plenty of time. We had lots of time between when he died and the funeral because of the holidays and like we were talking about, logistical things. And most of it family coming in from out of town. We waited a good long time, so I had plenty of damn time to write that thing. And I thought it was about what I thought it was going to be. Like, I knew where I was going to start. I kind of knew. And then the night before I was up late.
Finishing your homework?
Mind fucking it. Really, wrestling with it. It wasn't funny.
Well, I think, like you said, it is your father. You've delivered a lot of other eulogies. There's something about it being so personal that makes it harder.
Yeah, that's right. And also feeling like, how can I say enough? That was the problem. I could talk for an hour. Like, a lot of people were going, hey, don't worry about it. Just go off the cuff. I'm like, I'm certainly not going off the cuff. I was also treating it like writing a stand-up set because it's about the same amount of time. And so you wanted to have a certain rhythm and shit. The truth is, I think what hijacked me a couple days before was realizing this is not meant to be my personal, whatever farewell to my father.
It's not your comedy show.
It's not my relationship with my dad. This is for the church. Like, I started going, okay, if I don't mention my mom sooner than I've got her right now. I mean, there was no doubt that my father loved my mother and they had a lifelong love affair. That's definitely going to be something in there. It's something true and obvious about who that man was. But I went, okay, if I don't move that little mention higher up, I'm gonna piss off my mom. It was a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like, okay, this isn't about me. I have to include my brother and sister, whatever. I mean, it was just, that was a funny thing. That it was harder than I thought. And probably that plus urn making. Wasn't that urn beautiful? It really was cool. Did you see it? You probably couldn't see it very much. Yeah. It's still at my mom's house. We did not bury it in the ground. Here's what happened. We heard it on the last episode that we recorded. My father suffered a great deal at the end of his life. The last week and month of his life were awful for him, awful for me, and awful for my mom and all of his caretakers. I was the last person who saw him alive. He spoke his last words that we know about to me. He gave me the great gifts that, of like kind of saying goodbye to me, even though he wasn't really there at all. And my heart lifted the minute I heard he had died. He died an hour and a half after I was with him saying, go, 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 go. You should go, Daddy. Go, 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 go. Got to have the deathbed moment with him, and then an hour and a half later, he died. And I was immediately, like, relieved. Of course, I'm sad. Of course, a lot of emotions wash over you. But that was about it for me in terms of feeling awful, in terms of sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't sobbed. I'm not. I was sadder before. I mean, I said it.
It was a blessing.
It was such a blessing.
You said it over and over again.
I missed him while he was here.
Yeah, the kindest thing that could happen at this point is for him to just go peacefully.
Seriously, and it wasn't peaceful. I mean, in the end, it was because hospice is great. Well, yeah, when we talked, he was really a day away or 2 days away from dying. So we've heard it. We've been caught up on that. But I mean, the truth is, I have missed my father for so long, Andrew, like 5 years since he's really, truly been my dad. And as I said in the eulogy, I kind of understand death. It's like I've heard about it, at least.
Right.
I didn't
right. And
understand that suffering.
you had no reference for dementia or
No
all
reference.
the associated
That's right. That's right.
stuff that goes with
I
it.
have no reference for losing a person whom I do love right there in front of me. Wowza. Who's my dad? You know, we've talked about it a lot on this show. I sure have conflated that feeling with being single and needing a handyman and shit, you know, when there's a leak in my roof and stuff. It's like, oh God, I just miss my dad. But he's been gone for so long that now I kind of know how to miss him, and I just sort of feel him here. It's just like, it's that, that's the other thing. I said it, well, not exactly in that eulogy, but it's true. It's helpful. He's Catholic. He was a great believer. He believes, you know, in his eternal life, and that saints and angels, he's with me now. I mean, I just have chosen that magical operating system, and like, he's with me all the time now. And in a way that I can, whatever, we believe that, if we believe that message, he's whole again, right? He was suffering so badly. And, it's been easier for me, I think, than probably for most people. I think a lot of those who loved him are still saying, we can't believe he's gone. And I might be the one person. I think it comes off a little bit not sensitive, especially at the funeral time. I was just like, oh, no, this is the time to have a party. This is a party. It's so much better now, you guys. You know, and that seems a little insensitive to people who are shocked by death or just starting to grieve it. I'm like, oh no, this is fantastic. It was a giant family reunion party. All 8 of his siblings came, and many of his nieces and nephews from both sides of the family, and even some of their kids. I know, it was amazing. I wish you would come to the party part. It was fun.
I know.
That's okay. You had to work. That's what happens with funerals. But it was wonderful.
Yeah, it seemed like it. You have a very happy and supportive family. It seems like everyone was glad to be there and share their little anecdote about not just your father, but you know their time with you and that sort of thing. It really seemed like, you know, if you can get past the funeral part of it, it really seemed like a joyful thing having everybody in town.
It was joyful, and my niece made a beautiful slideshow like you do when somebody dies. So it was all these pictures of all of us growing up, and all these cousins were here and stuff. And then at the reception, after we had the inurnment is the word, Andrew, when you bury the ashes.
That's a very difficult word. I saw it in the little program.
Inurnment. I love it.
Inurnment. It sounds like you've got
it's just a specific word.
Inurnment.
Inurnment.
Anemone.
It sounds exactly like what it is. It sounds a little bit on the nose, really, because if you think of internment is the sort of the word for it, and if inurnment sounds like you made it up.
It sounds like someone being a little bit too clever.
A little cutesy. So a little cutesy. We'll call it the inurnment. Anyway, after that, we at the reception thing. Also, people got up and I just saw something. Also, people got up and spoke about him, you know, like, which is your dream. And it wasn't roasty, because that's not how my family is, but it was like funny and sincere and sweet. And several of the grandkids spoke. And I mean, it was that ceremony, that celebration was pretty out of body. I mean, I just sort of drank a lot, but in a happy way. There was a lot of exquisite emotion. Like, I remember thinking at the end of the day, I look like shit. I just look like I have been wiped out, and I had been. It was so much exquisite emotion. But anyway, no, good. There was one thing that we should mention from one of my cousins, whom you know, a cousin here, who says that he knew it all along, but hadn't contemplated it or whatever, how much of a father figure my father was to him when he was a young man who needed it. And again, we remember that part of his life, but the details are pretty stunning. And this guy said to me, or said to maybe another cousin, you know, I don't think I ever thanked Mike Lane for what he did for me, but maybe now I can thank Marcia, my mom. That part of it. Let's not forget to tell people we love them. You know, that's the only thing. And I personally do not have any regrets about that with my dad, because it was so long and slow. It wasn't like he was just taken. I don't know. I guess that's the dumb piece of pearl of wisdom. And as you are getting married and starting your life together, and families are involved and all of that, and there's a lot of exquisite emotion around things, I guess that's it. Just, you know what? Seriously, tell people you love them while they're alive, and be nice.
I think that's great advice. And this phase of my life right now, where we're talking about weddings and funerals, we're talking about the big components of life that I haven't really had much time to appreciate or think about in a long time. partly because I've just been, growing up as a student. There haven't been any babies in my life, really. There haven't been any big life events, and it's easy to lose sight of the life part of life, and focusing on the stuff that doesn't matter, the making money, the getting the things you want, all those little things that aren't major life events, that aren't being close with the people you love, and that sort of thing. So this last, at this point, it's almost been a month of just life events. It's been refreshing. It's nice to think about the life parts of life.
That's funny, because as you know, I prefer to think about the life parts of life and not the money parts and the work parts and all that. And one of the things that I said at my dad's funeral, as you may remember, was how all in he was. He was always the first one into the water. That's how I started. It's so true. Not reckless. He was not like crazy, but he was all in. He was all in for fun if there was fun to be had, as long as he had assessed the risk.
He had a chance to make his plan.
Absolutely. And make his money. He seriously was not. But and so a lot of people came up to me and said, that really hit me. I'm going to take that home with me. I really need to have more fun. I think too hard about work. Even some of my cousins, and I went, oh, really? Okay. Yeah, no, I'm glad you have that. And that's partly what I wanted, like take that with you. But also I'm like, that is not the problem for me. I'm too in, and I'm too all about the life events, and I need to maybe think more about the work and the thing. I don't know. That's funny. But it's all just exquisite emotion. Seriously, Andrew, in the past year, we've had divorce, engagement, you and me, just you and me.
Right.
Divorce, death, engagement. It feels like there's been another one.
Unintentionally, it's been a show about life.
Holy cow.
Right?
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a show about computers.
We sure did, which I do have computer news that sucks.
I know. I don't even, I'm not kidding. All I have to say about it is so negative. I have a bidet. I have a bidet toilet seat.
Life, that sounds like living.
Life changing. Yo. I'm not going to stop talking about it.
You've only had a bidet for
a few hours. That's right. About 12 hours.
Have you had a chance to use it?
Hell yeah. I used it twice before I went out and told jokes last night. And the comics, I walked one of our favorite comic friends. He was like, this is the third time I've heard about her bidet. And he got on his bicycle and rode away. Like, I can't take it. I can't take Lisa talking about her bidet one more time. And I'm like, sorry, not sorry.
It's very European of you.
Not stopping. Why is that? We are wrong in this country. You know what I mean? Why do the Europeans and the Japanese do this and we don't? Andrew, it is amazing.
I got some questions about bidets. I've never used one.
Oh, my God. I hadn't either until last night. I had never used a bidet in my life.
Does it do everything for you?
Yep.
You just sit there and it goes. It's like a dishwasher. It takes you through the cleaning cycle.
You want me to walk you through it? Also, there's a remote control. I can walk you through it without being gross.
Totally hands-free?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Dude,
Does yours blow warm air on you to dry you off when you're finished?
Yeah.
Wow.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be hands-free. All right, let me walk you through it, okay? Here's what happens. The toilet seat, I believe, is maybe always warm, which I don't know. But I keep the lid down. Either it's always warm or the minute you sit your little hiney on it, it gets warm because it's nice and warm.
Mm-hmm.
You sit there for a second. It senses the pressure. It sprays the bowl. So there's no splatter. Like your bowl will stay cleaner than ever because you can't get any splatter. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Sprays
Trust
the bowl.
me, I know about splatter.
Okay. That happens. Then you do your thing. Then remote control. By the way, you can program it so it's right as you want it each time for two people.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one person in my house.
Two memory settings.
Two memory settings. See, isn't that nice? So it's someday. So for the bitter single lady, it's all mine. I can have two settings. You've
got two settings. You've got blow your top off and.
Right. Yes. That's what I was just thinking. Correct. Mm-hmm. So you can do, but I use the remote control. Okay. So there's backwash. Wash your backside.
Uh-huh.
You can spray it. It oscillates, Andrew, if you want it to. It pulses. Either it'll just be a soft spray or you can dial up that pressure. You can make it oscillate. You can make it pulsate. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You said this thing senses when you're on it, so you're not at risk of having it go off while nobody's there.
Right. The only time that happened is when the handyman was installing it and squirted him in the eye. Because he was putting pressure on it to test it. He was like testing the cycle. Like he was being very good and patient. He helped me a lot because I didn't have to read the manual, but it did spray him in the face.
But
it's brand new water. Okay, it's heated water, you understand?
No, I did not understand.
Okay, so coming on your backside and the front side.
What a miracle of engineering.
Oh my God in heaven. So front side wash, again, you can oscillate, you can tilt it, you can put it wherever you want.
There's so much stuff going on here. I'm nervous. It looks ugly, like a medical device. Does it look like it belongs in a hospital?
Well, it'll be our show art for the week. I mean, hey, thanks.
It's not the most beautiful thing, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I don't think it's bad. It's big. Let me show you a picture because I have taken a picture. I mean, wait, here's a full-on front picture of it. No, it looks like a normal toilet seat.
Almost. It's just got that little panel on the back.
It's got a panel on the back, and it's giant. I mean, it looks like it's tall looking.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks, but it's not ugly. It's actually not ugly. It's not like the thing I have not done is hang the remote control on the wall, because to me that's ugly. I just have it in the little cubby hole, but I might hang it on the wall. It's clear. It comes with a little hanger. It's clearly what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, you wash the front and the back as long as you want with warm water. Thank you very much. Then it dries, with warm air.
That sounds magical.
I mean, I don't know why we all don't have this built into our lives. It is, okay, I'm going to be gross a little bit now. I'm not going to get super gross with it, but I have hemorrhoids. Like, this is a real thing in my life, and I know I'm not alone. People don't talk about it, but when I say that, so many people, even young people, go, oh, God, me too. I didn't know about that, and it is a misery, man. It is a misery. I think my dad had them at about exactly my age. I remember this because it was a scene. Dude, this is life-changing. I'm already feeling better.
We're gonna have to find an Amazon link so that we can get that bidet skrilla.
No, I know, and we should, because it's the kickback. We've talked about. In fact, the handyman and I were talking about what I should do is host bidet parties, like Tupperware parties.
Oh yeah,
and just like have people go.
Turn?
Yep, you take a turn. You sit in there. We'll bring you champagne, whatever. You can watch movies and just enjoy it, and then. Well, here's the Amazon link. I get a kickback. By the way, it was very expensive, so I wouldn't mind getting that kickback.
You have a friend that we joked about around the kitchen table at the old homestead who's got a very fancy toilet on the scale of tens of thousands of dollars.
I don't think that's true, but we've inflated it. Yes, that friend George house sat for those friends, and that's how he told me. He goes, I knew our friends were rich. I knew our friends were well off because their toilet was what made me realize. Because their toilet like has jet engines or something. And it's the whole bidet toilet. So I guarantee, like the handyman aftermarket seat. And the truth is, it does not fit my toilet seat perfectly because I do have a low footprint toilet for reasons of my tiny bathroom. The handyman, who is also a plumber, told me, he goes, he said, the tank or whatever, however that water is heated, it's not a lot of it. He goes, it probably like heats a pint of water. So if I want, he can come and install this line and adjust the temperature so that I have like unlimited hot water on the bidet. I'm like, I don't see how that's necessary. I don't think I need that.
You don't want to chafe your butt. Spending too much time on the bidet.
And I don't want to invite too many friends over to use it for that long. That's the truth. Anyway, no, it's I also, by the way, I did look up guess how I found my product? Wire cutter.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, best bidet.
That's funny.
I bought the #1 recommendation. It's very expensive, but probably worth it. Anyway, that is probably gross and like the exact kind of thing my mother does not believe is appropriate for talking about in public.
Do you think that, sorry, this is just, before we leave the gross section, do you think this gets you as clean or cleaner than if you were using your toilet paper?
I know 100% gets me cleaner because sometimes I don't quite trust the blow dry yet. So I pad, I dab, I test. Just testing it, making sure. I don't trust it yet. I don't trust how dry I am. And being dry when you have hemorrhoids is the most important thing. You can't let shit, okay? God in heaven. I guarantee it is cleaner.
What a good start to season 2.
What a good start. We're back at it. You thought you didn't like it when we talked about computers. Audience, listeners, they're all gone. They're done. They're not here anymore. Okay. Anyway, dude, I know it's a foul topic to talk about, but really, I don't know why more of us don't do that. Is like, I can feel the difference already, and it's fantastic.
Huh?
I'm more comfortable.
You know what you need now? You need like a water softener. You need like a...
This is the problem. It goes on and on. I need an air conditioner, and I looked at that, and I can't.
You need a whole new house.
I don't.
So some of the guys I like to listen to about computer stuff.
Yeah.
They have a podcast called the Accidental Tech Podcast.
Yeah.
And one of the hosts is famous for solving his problems with money. And recently his office isn't lit as nicely as he wanted to, and he was concerned about he thought that you'd have to renovate the entire room, knock down walls and take off drywall just to put in some can lights up above his desk, which isn't true, by the way. I've watched the This Old House episode on it. Not true. But inevitably, all their solutions come back to, well, if I'm going to get this computer, I'm going to need this new house, and I'm going to it gets that way. It's if you give a mouse a cookie, home edition.
Oh, I know. Right, I know. Oh, God. I mean, right. If I'm going to just put in a new faucet in the bathroom, and now we're new bathroom, new house. Yeah, it's a new house.
If you give Lisa a bidet.
I know. No, but not true, because I love the dollhouse. Dude, the leak in the studio roof is fixed big time. It's not pretty yet.
Speaking of, we're in the newly remodeled studio.
Okay, right?
And
New studio, who dis?
I got about 6 more inches of leg room.
Yeah, you have leg room.
You hear that, United? Hear that? That's service.
We have,
We got a lot
just
of
as
egg
good
carton. What do you
dead
call this
sign.
stuff?
Dead sound, egg cart. I don't know. Sound.
This is specifically marketed as sound deadening or dampening or.
Yep, it's sound panel. It's acoustic panels. They're acoustic panels that are the
They're
egg
nice.
carton
They're
shape.
red.
They're red only because they were slightly cheaper and I could get them faster. So I just took the red bundle instead of the black or blue bundle. It's all right.
Like it.
I kind of like it. It feels nice. My friend Jeff, when he records in here, he says it feels like a menacing womb. The red part being womb-like, and then he feels like they're little daggers coming out. I feel like they're nice little. They seem soft to me. It doesn't seem menacing in here.
No, it doesn't.
There's
But
no real
I could
spikes.
see, if it was dark and unfamiliar,
Yeah.
maybe someone could come away with that impression.
I suppose. I got to fix your little strip right over there. But to tell you the truth, your side is less important than my side. Because this side over here is where, hey, my audiobook's on the market too. We've been promising that for a long time.
Oh,
right
yes.
now, listeners, just go get it. Audible. Just go get it. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Lisa Lane Filholm on Amazon.com.
I suppose. Mama Bear, Beyond
Get
Mama
there
Bear.
and buy it. And we'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, we
and,
sure will.
I think if someone clicks that link, the show will get money as commission, and then you'll get the whatever fee you get from selling a book.
Fantastic.
We'll
My
get,
God, we are
double
monetizing
bubble.
everything right here in 2020.
That's
2020 damn vision, Andrew. The point being is that my side over here needs to be very perfectly sound beautiful. And so I invested a little bit more over here. Yours, I still intend to fill that strip of mostly bare wall because that's a little bouncy. But your side matters less, so no offense. Over here is where I'm making the money, getting the voiceover jobs. You should check out everybody should. You should check out my LisaLaneFilholm.com website too. Done some upgrades on that ish. It's great now. I have some stand-up comedy of mine on the internet for the first time.
Do you really?
On that website, LisaLaneFilholm.com, I have my clean set, some of it. And on YouTube, I have a couple of dirty sets, but I haven't. That's just because I need them because I've been applying for some things and I need to show some examples. So I have a couple from Comedy Works, but I'm not putting them on my website. I don't really want.
Well, now
You
all
saw the
of our
comedy.
listeners are going to know they can
Fine
find
with
you.
my listeners. Fine with our listeners. That's fine. But it's just like, oh, God. I don't know. Well, you've heard it, Andrew. Thanks for coming to the big show.
Ooh, that was uncomfortable. I don't mind saying.
So not happy. I know. When the next day I said to you,
So I was
I
there
know
with
that was
my brother,
difficult for you.
and I was sitting across from him with my
With your back
to
to
you,
me the entire time.
and he looked shell shocked, and I had a similar.
I know. No, I know. He was shell-shocked, but still laughing and still sort of amused because he can handle it a little bit better is my feeling about it. Like he could come back to me the next day and even joke about some of my jokes. You were shell-shocked. Like, I know. It was so uncomfortable
That
for
is
you.
uncomfy.
You took one for the team, man. Thanks. I needed audience there. You really did me a solid. That show is popping now. We had 30 audience members there last week.
That's pretty good.
And now
you
we have
probably had
lights
as
and
many
sound
comics,
shit.
huh? It seems like it's a major attractor. It's got some serious draw in that a lot of people show up to do the open mic.
That's every night of the week. That's every mic. That's almost every mic I go to.
Whatever. I'm trying to pay you a
No,
compliment.
you are. No, it's good. It's like sort of what's happening at that time on a Friday night. Oh yeah, no, we had some good people come. I'm thrilled, but it's a mic that I'm running on Friday nights. It's just just telling you, it's stunning. God in heaven. I mean, there are some mics where there's 50, 70 people. God, it's just nuts. But anyway, that was funny that you saw the dirty jokes, and of course, because you were there, I just kept it going. I was enjoying goading you with it a little bit. Like last week, I started with purely teenage stuff, totally started clean, the set, but I wasn't going to do that when you were there because it's funny. They're funny jokes, though, Andrew.
Some of them.
All of them. Every damn one. Did you hear the audience crack up? All right, you want to give me notes? Do you want to break it down?
Of course not. I'm still working on scrubbing my memory.
That was really hard for you.
You know what I want to talk about, Mrs.
Yeah, what's
Filholm?
that?
In addition to an engagement and a funeral,
I was going to say weddings. Yeah.
we also have the start of a new year.
Yep. 2020 vision.
Vision 2020, 2020 vision, as you say. First of all, when you start a new year, do you have things you like to focus on? Do you make resolutions? Are you losing weight? Are you quitting smoking? Giving up coffee? Are you that kind of New Year's person, or do you just treat it as if it was any other point in time?
I am normally not a New Year's resolution person. I don't feel the need to even, whatever. I'm normally not. I don't feel the need usually to even mark the new year with anything too significant. As you know, once I jumped into a frozen lake, I thought about that this year. Mm-hmm. Didn't work out for a variety of reasons. But anyway, this year I just decided to lean into it and I decided to quit smoking.
Yeah? That's a classic New Year's resolution.
Yeah, classic New Year's
How's
resolution.
it going? So right now we're, 20 days into January?
Yep.
Are you cigarette-free for 2020 vision?
Pretty much. Not totally free because of reasons. Because I figure it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm pretty much not smoking.
You had, I think it was before we ever started this podcast, you had a friend who's approximately my age, and she gave you the business for smoking. Mm-hmm. And she said, every time you smoke a cigarette, I'm going to smoke one too so you can kill us both, or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And that worked for a little while.
Yeah, she never really did it.
Maybe she's been smoking cigarettes.
No, she hasn't. No, I know it's gross and it goes against everything I've ever believed in. It's disgusting. Yeah, listen, it's an addiction. I don't like it. It's not that hard. It's not fun. Quitting smoking is not fun, but it is not. Yeah, it's not hard compared to other things in life.
Yeah. The statistics on quitting smoking are pretty encouraging, though, in that, if you can make it 6 months, your lungs regain most of whatever they've lost.
This is what I've heard. And so I did the thing, and people, I don't know if it's true or not, but I am here to tell you I think it's true. They call it the quitter's flu, where you just spit up more phlegm. You kind of go through this thing. And honestly, I mean, you heard it that night that I was doing comedy. I, honest to God, almost lost my voice. And I had a voice job. And then I had a paid comedy show. And it was like I was doing everything that my training has ever taught me how to do. To save my voice, I went on full vocal rest for a fucking 24 hours. It's everybody's favorite day. There you go. I'm still coughing.
Quiet.
Yeah. Part of the reason I decided to quit is because we can hear it throughout the podcast. I'd catch a cold and then it wouldn't go away. I mean, I just like hacking cough. This has been true for a long time. And I do think it's partly because of smoking, partly because we live in a hostile environment in Denver, Colorado. Because you know where I don't have a hacking cough or bad sinuses? Mm-hmm. Maui.
Yeah.
Everything's fine there.
That nice, moist air.
Salt water air. Oh, humidity. Anyway, so it's not fun. It's an oral fixation that I've had. I mean, it's for real. So it like chewing gum helps a lot. I have some nicotine gum and I've done that, but I don't. It seems to be like chewing regular gum deals.
It's good enough.
Yeah, and I do think that my voice is recovering. It's still not back to full. Mm-hmm. But I'm not kidding. It felt like I lost my voice after I stopped. And I read a little bit on it, and I think that it can be true. Like you are changing all of that, the organism of your voice boxes, all that pipes and stuff in there. I think it is true that it's like so used to being coated with smoke, then taking that away, it makes it worse for a minute. And then, yeah, like you're saying, hopefully in 6 months, my lungs will be better. My voice will be, flexible again because I'm trying to make my money with my voice a lot lately, and it just occurred to me, whatever. I mean, I understand the paradox of making my money being a voiceover person and an announcer all these years and still smoking, but it's like, yeah, but that was my normal, and I got away with it, and I think, whatever. Anyway, so I did that this year, Andrew. How about you? Any New Year's resolutions?
No. My New Year's resolution is to Survived the wedding planning.
Get married, yeah.
In addition to our wedding, someone else close to me, someone else close to the both of us, you and I, is getting married.
Well, we know we've talked about it.
And so it's going to be in addition to Vision 2020 Vision, it's going to be just a busy year of life events.
Yes, it is. Life events. You're feeling it all, Andrew. It's going to be a year of feels for you, I bet.
It is.
You're going to have feels.
FEALS, CBD oil.
Oh. Come on. We don't give...
I'm not recommending it. I'm joking. I think it's so funny.
But I mean, I'm just saying I want them to sponsor us. Retainer. Give us money before you mention your shit. Plus, we don't even know. Have you ever tried CBD oil?
Never.
Me neither. Doesn't appeal to me at all. Freaks me out.
No.
I don't believe that it doesn't make you trip.
That's like CBD oil sounds like, people who drink because they like the taste. Why would you want marijuana without the high?
Well, I know, because it's supposed to make, because it's supposed to give you the chill and the pain relief and I know.
Whatever. I'm not right. That old and achy yet.
You're not. No, you're not. I am.
It's not for me.
Nope. I am old and achy, but I'm sitting on my cool new chair now. The kneeling chair.
You need a bidet to blast CBD oil at your,
love it.
At your rear.
At my rear. That'd probably solve it all right then and there, right? Oh my God.
I got one other thing I've been thinking about.
Okay, please.
And it's a logistical thing that I think applies to a lot of different areas of our life is apples to apples comparisons or apples to oranges, because we've been going through all this wedding planning, and you get quotes from all these different people, and none of the quotes are even remotely close to one another.
Oh, is that right?
And it's because none of them include the same things. This one includes a setup fee. This one they didn't include a setup fee, but you're going to get charged for it later. This one has tablecloths and centerpieces. This one doesn't, and it makes it impossible for you to compare one company to the other. And it's funny, even something that's more, I don't know, we'll call it regulated and theoretically more systematic than planning a wedding is insurance. And I just got the same thing doing some insurance shopping the other day.
Health insurance? Health insurance,
car insurance.
Homeowners, all of it.
With all of this wedding stuff, we're cutting the last apron strings. And like Delaney's still on her parents' car insurance.
Got it.
So now we're looking at moving that stuff over, and so we got quotes on auto and motorcycle and renter's insurance for the both of us, and it came out where my auto and motorcycle quote that I got for all of the cars and all of the bikes and all of that stuff came out to be less than half of what Delaney's quote for just her car was at her place, right? And they'll try to explain it away. They'll say, oh, well, it's since you've got a homeowner's policy and you've got all this bundling going on and all these others. But near as I can tell, the coverages are almost exactly the same, minus some branding things between Allstate and AmFam. And the quote is less than half. Whereas if we look at renter's insurance, the quote that my insurance agency gave me on renter's insurance is more than twice what Delaney's insurer gave her. And it's so frustrating and confusing because there's no point where you can say, this quote is equivalent to this quote in terms of coverages offered, because they do. I think that's a sales tactic. They teach us it in business school. If you want to sell things, you can make people less price conscious by bundling stuff and by renaming stuff and by basically just obfuscating what you're actually getting for the money.
Sure.
And I've been feeling a lot of that recently, and it's just frustrating. But be on the lookout in your life for things where you're deliberately the seller is deliberately preventing you from making an apples to apples comparison, because it's all over the place.
It makes me sad.
It makes me sad.
Because that amount of bamboozling. So you are finding that so when you dig down, for example, with insurance, you are finding when I force this into an apples to apples comparison, there is a huge difference, and sometimes it's double. Like these are now, these are pretty identical coverages. Holy shit, I hate that.
It's frustrating.
Because I trust people to help me with decisions like insurance, Andrew. And mortgages and shit. Do you know what I mean? I have trusted people that and maybe the guy who helped me with my insurance did that, and he did I doubt it.
Well, it's frustrating because in this insurance example,
Yeah.
I think I'm getting a smoking deal on auto, which could be a loss leader, and they're gonna make up for that with the renters or homeowners policies, versus Delaney's insurer, which could be doing the exact same thing, but in reverse, where renter's insurance is the loss leader, and they're really trying to get you on the auto. And it's kind of like there are certain things that when you go to a grocery store are priced that way. Milk is always low because they know people are price conscious about the price of milk. That's something, one of my grandmother's favorite sports is to go to King Soopers, go to Sam's Club, go to Walmart, and then report back on the best milk price.
My mother, same. So, yes, correct. My mother and your grandmother are about the same age. Same, absolutely a sport.
So these stores and these companies, they are competitive when they need to be, and they'll screw you on everything else, screw you everywhere else they can. And that's, I don't know, it's a thought technology. It's something to be aware of and be wary of,
Yeah, I do know. And then I often think, oh, golly,
one more example.
Yeah, okay.
And this blew my mind when you told me, and I looked at it and verified that it was true. Years ago, one of your neighbors was doing some costume shopping on Amazon, and they found out that the price of the costume when you're logged in, when you're a Prime member and you're logged in, is greater than if you're just a schmo off the street who's not an Amazon Prime member. So, you spend your $100 a year for 2-day shipping, and the assumption that you're getting better prices than the Snorks, and it turns out you are the Snork.
I heard some podcast about this, and it was something like Planet Money or something similar. Like it was a respectable podcast talking about, oh my God, about how, although that is true that you're the Snork, the Amazon Prime, it was talking about it's the same principle. The Prime designation, Amazon is the whole thing is so bamboozling, I think, is what's going on, right? But I don't even want to talk about it. But that Prime designation that people are willing to basically pay more because they trust that it will be here on time. They trust it is a good product because it's designated Prime. They trust it's got some kind of actual good reviews behind it, which
that
I don't know
someone's
if
actually
it's true.
looked at it and tested it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the general consensus is that people now, including me, know. No, I know that I'm not maybe getting the bottom dollar best price by using Prime, but I also sort of trust that then it will be returnable easily. It's not going to be some weird whatever. It makes me not happy to hear you say this because you're right. And when you talk about the apples to apples comparison of things, I literally, my brain goes to your grandmother and my mother spending a lot of time. To this day, my mother, it is a sport for her. It is a way of life. And it is also why I will have inheritance money. Thank you very much, Mom and Dad. She compares the coupons in the paper and then literally will go to 3 stores and get, she has 3 different lists, or at least she has King Soopers and Safeway in this town. Probably there's a Costco. Yeah, there's definitely 3. Plus there's a Target. So you know what I mean? And she will have 4 different lists, and I'm going to Target to get these specific items because they're on sale here. I decided long ago to not live like that. Okay? So I decided, I guess, to be a Snork. I decided to be bamboozled because I went, literally not worth it for me to sit here with my insurance. I just bought new health insurance myself. Literally not worth it to me to look through this manual versus that manual and pick it apart and just to go, okay, I got this dumb policy and my deductible's pretty high and hope I don't get sick. But I have to have it. So fine, do that one. Versus the one that I'm sure I could find that would save me $50 a month, which is not insignificant in my life. That's $600 a year. I should care about it. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's where perhaps I probably had a husband who did a little bit of that for me, like maybe you're doing for you and Delaney, Maybe I had a husband he probably was more concerned about, like when he chose our insurance, like I'm sure Tal did sit and look at apples to apples comparison. Oh my God, that's so not how my brain even works. It's problematic. I trust the wire cutter to get the best bidet. You know what I mean? I did look at that. Like, am I doing apples to apples comparison? Do I get the bowl spray beforehand? If I go down a model. But you know what I mean? Ultimately, Andrew, so often I just go, oh, does the wire cutter say it's the best one? I read a little bit further. My dad brought me up on Consumer Reports.
Your eulogy. Consumer Reports was in the eulogy.
Totally right. It's totally Consumer Reports. And then you trust you're making a good decision because they have vetted everything for you. And then you go, all right, I'll get that one. I might be stupid on that count.
I don't know. It feels good to me, believing it may be true, it may not be true, that someone did their homework
Me
on
too.
this. They took the time to test 2 things. They decided this one was better.
Well, that's what I feel about that. But like when it comes to insurance,
Yeah, insurance sucks.
who are you going to call? I mean, Ghostbusters. There's probably people out there doing it too. You know, there's probably like YouTube channels or podcasts of people. Maybe there aren't. But, you know, I mean, my God, there are YouTube channels of people like testing, unboxing toys and computers and everything else.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
there's
would
somebody
think
going.
there's someone who's helping people shop
Yeah.
for insurance plans.
If they're not, if there is, by
Maybe
the way.
that's our niche.
It's not my niche. I would like to find that person, and then I would like to marry that person. Could I have a person in my life who just does that for me, vets all decisions, make sure. Gosh darn it. We were talking on this podcast a year ago when I was putting offers on houses and stuff about paying for educated decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You were paying money and talking to a lot of experts to get all this whole all this divorce stuff set up and all of this life planning
and like
stuff
realtors
inspections.
That was the
yeah.
big one. It was the inspection on the house that then was a bad inspection, so I walked away and it felt like a very expensive decision. But my financial advisor said you're paying for good decision making, and he said he has a high overhead for. He pays a lot to make sure to make sure he's making a good decision. So again, I think there are people who can help you with health insurance. For my home and auto insurance, I used a guy, and I hope that he did that. That's kind of what I think I paid for, was his expertise, but I guess I'm not even really sure. You know what I mean? Seriously, at the time when it was homeowners and auto and everything, I was switching from having it with somebody else to buying my own house and stuff, and I was so overwhelmed that I just went, "Yep,
and
trust
that
guy."
process is intentionally overwhelming. It doesn't need to be that way,
right?
They're just being shitty about it.
I know. What are we gonna do about that, Andrew? Nothing.
I don't know.
Just be
I would
aware.
hope so. Not to bring it back to computers, but there's a big thing going on. I think the EU is hearing arguments about standardizing connectors for computers. So Apple's Lightning connector might be on the chopping block in favor of USB-C because that's going to be the accepted standard. And if you want to sell a device in the European Union, you're going to have to comply or get some kind of special dispensation or something. Anyways.
Kind of love that, but...
And I guess there's always been a movement for standardization, and it hasn't quite trickled down into those, I don't know what you call a service like insurance. The companies who really spend a lot of time thinking about standardization, they've nationalized insurance for the most part, I would think. But in this free market over here, they haven't standardized it, and there's an argument that if you standardize it, then things fall through the gaps and people miss out on they're not able to get the coverage they actually need or want. So this is supremely customizable, but it sucks. It's not easy to navigate. Like you said, you need an expert to get a sense of what you need and don't need. It's just miserable.
It is miserable, and it's purposely obfuscated, like you said. Yeah, okay. It just makes you feel like a dupe.
I don't know. I feel like a dupe too, Mrs. Filholm.
I feel like also wedding planning is that way too. There's a lot of things.
Oh yes, everyone's trying to get you, whether you're trying to cure your sniffles or plan your caterer
or wipe your ass
or wipe.
You want to come inside and see the bidet pretty soon, Andrew?
I sure do. I think we've brought a lot of ruckus.
Okay, Happy New Year, ruckus.
The same to you.
No, I was defining the kind of ruckus. That wasn't a wish. I was saying we brought Happy New Year.
I thought you were calling me ruckus.
Happy New Year, comma, ruckus.